Hello English learners, welcome back to another video. This is my YouTube channel English with Michael, where we look at grammar, English learning advice and all that kind of stuff. So welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the passive voice. Passive. It can be a little bit confusing, but in this video I'm only going to cover the basics. So I'm going to be covering the passive simple. We can talk about passive continuous, passive with present perfect tense. I'm not going to make it too complicated today. I'm going to keep it fairly simple, fairly basic. If you want to kind of hear more about it and get more advanced, also let me know and I can do a part 2 for the more advanced learners as well. But today we're going to look at the passive voice. So a quick summary of what passive is it takes emphasis, that's like strength or focus, it takes that away from the person or thing doing the action and puts the emphasis on the action itself. So the person is not important, it's the action that becomes important. And we'll give some examples why this is useful and where you might see this. So a good example is, many people study this book. This is called the active voice, and you can call it kind of normal if you want. Many people study this book. The focus is on many people. That's the main part, that's the subject of this sentence. Many people study this book. If we turn it to a passive voice sentence, it becomes, this book is studied by many people, right? And if we want to, we can even get rid of the last part. So the people don't even matter. We can just say, this book is studied. Yeah, it doesn't matter who studies it. It doesn't matter. The main purpose now is the book. So the book was the object. Now it's becoming the subject. It's becoming the main focus of this. So the focus is more on the action of studying rather than the people. And you'll notice as well the verb, if we're talking about a simple, present simple sentence, the verb becomes past participle. People study the book turns to the book is studied. So study becomes studied. That is the third verb, studied. This dish is eaten by many people. We don't say is eat, we don't say is ate. Third verb is eaten, right? So it's always the same in passive voice simple. So really we use passive voice when the person or the subject is either not important, is obvious, or we don't know. We don't know who the subject is. So I'll give you some examples, but first of all, let's look at the form. So we always start with the subject, which is normally the object of the active sentence. So it could be, yeah, again, the book. The book is the subject. Then we always have to be. So this could be is, am, are, or in the past it could be was or were. Then we have the past participle. So the book is studied. Subject to be, past participle verb, right? And that could be the end, but if you want to kind of specify who is doing the action, then we use the preposition by. The book is studied by you. The book is studied by me, right? Okay, so here is an example when the person doing the action is obvious and not important in this case. So the criminal was arrested, right? The criminal was arrested. Who arrested the criminal? Well, it was the police, right? Of course it was the police. It's obvious because the police are the only people who can arrest people. The criminal was arrested by the police. But we don't need to say it because it's so obvious. And also it's not so important. We want to focus on the criminal and the arrest, the action. But the police, it's not so important in this particular story. If you see a beautiful kind of painting in your friend's house, you could ask them, wow, how was this made? How was this made? We're not saying, how did you make it? Because we don't know. We don't know who made it. So how was this made? Or how was this drawn? How was this painted? So we don't know who did it. This is unknown. So there's some examples of why we use it. Another common use is it kind of takes blame away from you. So when you've done something bad and you don't want people to really focus on you, you want them to focus on the action, you can kind of use passive voice. So if you break your parents' favorite vase, you could say, instead of saying, I broke the vase, that puts a lot of blame on yourself. You could say, oh no, the vase is broken. The vase is broken. So it's like, maybe you broke it, maybe it broke on its own. No one knows, but the vase is broken. I used to do this a lot when I was a child. Like, oh no, the table is broken, this is broken. But I don't know who did it, it wasn't me, right? So maybe in the comments below, you can let me know about a time, maybe in your childhood, maybe recently, when you've done something bad. Tell me in passive voice what you did, but don't say it was you. Just say, something is broken. You could use past tense if you want to. Something was broken. Something was ruined, right? Tell me what you did in the comments below. A couple kind of real life examples you might see. You might see on a shop window, vegan food is served here. Vegan food is served here. Why do you think we use passive voice? Why don't we say, we serve vegan food? Really, it's because it doesn't matter, like, who serves it is not important. We don't care if you serve it or he serves it or she serves it. It doesn't matter. The main focus here is the food. Vegan food is served here. So they want to put the emphasis on the object of the food. Another common one you might see maybe more in America or maybe some military bases. I've seen it on some military bases in the UK. It's very scary. Trespassers will be shot. Shot is the past participle of the verb shoot. So why do we say trespassers will be shot? If you trespass, that means you're going somewhere you're not allowed to go. You know, we don't say, we will shoot trespassers. It doesn't quite sound the same. It's not quite as scary, but trespassers will be shot. We don't know who, really. Like, it's not important, but also we don't know. Will they be shot by a person? Will they be shot by an automatic, weapon? Who knows? But trespassers will be shot. It's not important who is shooting. The important thing is that you will probably die if you go there. Okay, let me give you a couple examples for your homework. Sorry to use the H word, but leave a comment and see if you can answer these. So you have to turn these active voice sentences into passive voice. So let's say James studies French. James studies French. What would that be in the passive voice? This one's a little bit harder now. You play with the dog. You play with the dog. One final one now. He cleans the windows. He cleans the windows. Let me know the passive versions of those three sentences in the comments, and I will let you know if you're right or wrong. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you want a part 2, a harder version, let me know. I can do that at some point. But thanks so much and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.